Broadcasting from the Cass Corridor in Detroit, this is The Metro, a slice of news, culture, and conversation. I'm Tia Graham.
And I'm Robin Vincent. Today on the program, local news is still in crisis mode. Could AI revive it or bury it?
We'll look at the good, the bad, and the many unknowns with artificial intelligence in journalism, and we'll look at how this political moment is challenging the press.
Plus, we hear from Detroit Interim Chief of Police, Todd Bettison. He's been recommended by Mayor Duggan to take the role permanently, pending City Council approval.
Also, Detroit's musical legacy is a point of pride for many of us, and today we're tracing some of its gospel roots.
But first, there's a lot to think about from the recent movie Sing Sing. It's the first time a film has simultaneously been released in theaters and in prisons. It tells the story of Divine G, a man incarcerated for a crime he didn't commit. Played by Coleman Dingo, Divine G joins a prison acting class where he finds community and purpose. Now, the film is fictional, but the acting class is based on a real arts program at Sing Sing Prison in New York. And the movie also features formerly incarcerated graduates of the program who give powerful performances alongside Domingo.
And Robin, we should note, he's nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor and the movie for Best Adapted Screenplay. When Sing Sing was released in theaters last summer, it also became available to stream on Edovo, a free online education platform serving over 900,000 incarcerated learners. Brian Hill is the CEO of Edovo Foundation. He joins the show to talk about the significance of connecting incarcerated people to information and education. Welcome to the Metro, Brian.
Good to be here. Thanks for letting me join.
Of course. So we mentioned the Sing Sing project. What makes the movie unique compared to others available on Edovo?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that are unique about Sing Sing. The way that the producers in A24 sort of put it all together, I would encourage anyone to sort of look into all of the amazing things they did to support the actors throughout. Those actors were actors in the film, but actually played a real role in Sing Sing, resided in Sing Sing for a time, and many were part of the RTA program that put on that play. So they actually agreed to go back into the prison to film the movie. But it's really the first major motion picture we've released onto the platform as well. So it was historical on many fronts.
Yeah. And just speaking of Edovo itself, what resources do incarcerated people have access to?
Yeah, so a lot has changed inside jails and prisons in America over the past few years. Edovo came on the scene about 10 years ago about 12 years ago and started introducing wireless networks and tablets to enable education and programming on the inside. Tablets are now pretty prolific inside prisons, reaching well over half of the incarcerated population. And they do lots of things, communication, entertainment, other things that are designed to help reimburse the cost of the infrastructure. But Edovo is uniquely a nonprofit that delivers education, rehabilitation, vocational training across an array of areas to help really provide individuals the tools and resources they need to improve their life while they're incarcerated and prepare for reentry.
And Brian, your father was an educator in prisons, which is a huge task to take on. Can you talk about his experience and how technology being used in prisons has changed?
Yeah, when I was growing up, my dad taught in Folsom Prison, as you mentioned, and so at night he would bring home the essays and share the stories of those who he was teaching. But he taught in a classroom of about 14 to 20 people, and that was the reality across America. Is we had a very large incarcerated population in America compared to other countries in the world, throughout the world. And we, in truth, only about 1 out of every 5 was getting access to any type of education and programming. So even though he was doing this tremendous work, and many are doing that work across the country, correctional facilities just were not set up to structurally serve and financially able to provide the education and opportunities for people to really make changes in their life during this time. And technology has, like I said, over this last decade has really shifted that through the introduction of tablets and wireless networks to securely deliver this technology inside. We now reach, as you mentioned, about 1 million people inside jails and prisons who now have free daily access to a whole host of resources, including courses like the ones my dad taught, college collegiate courses, all the way down to sort of literacy and learning how different vocations and also thinking about things like parenting while incarcerated or cognitive behavioral therapy and even meditation.
Yeah, and Robin and I actually talk about it often when we were talk about just the prison system itself. And sometimes this is the first place people have a touch base, or they touch a certain information. Maybe this is the first time they are looking at long form books or novels, or even learning a little bit more about different religions. It's so many different ways that people are connecting within prisons, and this is another way that you all are helping them out. So, can you talk a little bit about the technology they're being used to help folks seeking information in prisons? You said over 900,000 people, almost 1 million folks. So can you talk about that technology?
Yeah, so in prison, I think sometimes people have a hard time picturing what it's like to have nothing. I mean, when we're presented with a question or a challenge today, we pull out our phone, we hop on the internet, we can ask Alexa. I mean, there's thousands of ways in which we can rapidly get information to us. But now picture, you're inside a correctional facility, and all of a sudden you get a phone call from a loved one at home who says, "I have pancreatic cancer." There's nowhere to go to find out what that means. And it may be the first time you've heard about this. That's just one simple example of not having the information and education at your fingertips, let alone someone who's going into prison, maybe at the age of 18, they made a mistake, and they are now trying to figure out what they should do with their life. How they've been living a different life, and they want to walk out the doors living a very different life than when they came in, without the capacity and the resources to dive into like what careers are available to me or what jobs are available. Can I finish my GED while I'm here? I haven't fully learned how to read yet. How can I, skill up and learn, gain literacy skills or financial literacy as well? All of those elements, again, it's hard to picture and to appreciate just what having nothing is like. But now, again, any morning, someone can wake up in most jails and prisons in America now, pick up a device, and on that device, they can jump into the Edovo application and start exploring across 35,000 plus hours of content and 450 plus partners who are bringing material from all different angles into the facilities directly to them.
And Brian, I just want to stick with that a little bit as well, because that access to information, it is something that we often take for granted. We can pull out our phones in our pockets. We can go to our laptops. We're Googling whatever we need to Google. And you just talked about it a little bit, but talk about this, having that access to Edovo in prisons and what it means to be able to just look it up on a tablet or on a computer when you're in a prison setting.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's fair. I think this is really you think about how much anxiety it could create without access to that information, to not know what's going on and to just be waiting for the day in which you return home, hoping that you're ready. And so, like you mentioned, that technology is now available. It's in their hands, and what we see is tremendous progress happening across the board. And we receive thousands of hundreds of letters every week, thousands and thousands of letters every year of people just saying, letters from people who've spent years and decades in prison, and they say, I've been in here 20 years, and this is the first time I've felt hope. This is the first time where I've realized that I have an ability to really make progress. And that's I think what the Edovo platform could be. They jump into the platform, they can search what they want to find, or they can just hop on a path, set a goal for themselves, and really start charting their course. And Edovo's mission is really to figure out, how do we help people find, get and stay on this path, whatever that path is. And it's a real strong cross-section of America inside jails and prisons, and everyone's at a different place. And so we really want to try to reach them where they are, no matter what they're trying to solve in their life at the time.
You're listening to The Metro on WDET, Detroit Public Radio. I'm Tia Graham.
And I'm Robin Vincent. We're speaking with Brian Hill of the Edovo Foundation. That's an online education platform that connects incarcerated people to information. So, Brian, you've talked about how Edovo is connecting people to information and to the outside world, those who are incarcerated. I'm wondering also if you're seeing ways that it is connecting people to each other. For example, are you seeing study groups forming?
Yeah, no, it's a super fascinating thing to watch. When you give, we're a strong believer, and philosophically we just believe, give people the opportunity and let them, jump at the chance. And so it's exciting when we look at the data and we see all of a sudden, in a certain facility, lots of people on the platform taking the same course at the same pace at the same time. So I think there are these pockets are happening throughout because the tools are now available in the common areas, in the day rooms, in this very secure way. And so they're able to, someone who has expertise in an area can now pick up the tablet and have everyone turn, and whether they're doing a Bible study or whether they're doing sort of a GED preparation class, that's now possible to happen in the unit and empowering individuals to become both the teachers and the learners. So it's all there. The tools are there where they just weren't before.
Longtime critics of the prison system in the U.S. will say that it is not focused on rehabilitation. And I wonder how you see Edovo playing a role here when it comes to providing people who are incarcerated with educational opportunities.
Yeah, no, I think this is a game changer, as people tell us that. That's the word they use probably most often in the letters. Is it's truly a game changer for what's happening inside corrections. And I think, it's easy to be critical of jails and prisons without recognizing the complexity of what's happening here and also the challenges. There are so many people we incarcerate at a rate we have 5% of the world's population, 25% of the world's incarcerated population. So we have a unique problem in America. And you have some very dedicated staff who want it to be about rehabilitation, but the lack of funding, the lack of just capacity and space for classrooms, it just wasn't a reality, which is why this technology has become such a breakthrough, why Edovo is so critical to changing the scene and making this a place where rehabilitation can happen. I think another thing that's super intriguing about the platform is it is very much up to the individual. We're really giving everybody a choice. It's a free application. It's available to them on a daily basis, but it's up to them to make that choice. We see it upon us to really make it accessible and available to everyone at every learning level, and create a real broad brush of what's there on the platform. But we do leave it up. We do still say, this is your chance to take a shot. Now take that shot.
Okay, so Edovo's helping people to shoot their shot who are incarcerated. What happens after someone leaves prison? Can they take Edovo with them?
Yeah, things get incredibly more complex as people walk out of the prison, as you can imagine, and there's a lot to figure out. So we have made Edovo Go available to all those who walk out of the prison facility. So anyone, when they step out, can step onto their Edovo Go facility through any connected device. Sort of turns off their inside account, opens up their outside account. But most importantly, as you step to the outside, a lot of limitations come off, and there's a lot of opportunity that's now available in many areas. Our hope in many ways is to really focus and help people set up a plan and a structure pre-release, so that way they're able to then just go home, execute on that. And most importantly, we've created this positive record, a transcript for them that they can use with their parole officers, with employers, even with their family. It's sort of a record of achievement of what they've been able to do during their time. Up to this point, it was always just a rap sheet or a record made as a negative. And for the first time ever, they can walk out with a real positive message and a story of what they've done and accomplished during their time. And that's been transformative in interviews, getting custody of children back, all of the things that need to happen right as soon as you get home.
Brian, in the last 30 seconds that we have, how else can we improve access to education and information for more incarcerated people?
Yeah, right now we're reaching about half of the United States. So there are many states that can still, we encourage to pick up the baton and make Edovo available inside. And then I think something that America generally can do is to think about ways in which you can connect with and support, because while we can provide all the digital skills and tools that we want, nothing is more helpful than being able to come home to a community and to individuals who are ready to help, mentor, and support. And so thinking and finding organizations and ways to get it tied in that way, I think, is critical.
Brian Hill is the CEO of the Edovo Foundation. That's a free online learning platform for incarcerated people. Brian, thank you so much for joining us on the Metro.
Thanks for letting me be on the show. Appreciate it.
Coming up at 11, local news is under pressure. Can artificial intelligence make it stronger for the future, or will it be its downfall? The number is 313-577-1019.
Up next, we'll hear from Detroit Interim Police Chief Todd Bettison about the future of the city's impactful community crime intervention program. We'll be right back on the Metro. Stay with us.